Hello everybody out there and welcome to a special video on this channel, and welcome also to the making of Space Exploration by Rudi Rennkamel, which is now an in-game video you guys can use in the game to fill in this video to all of your screens and the new 360 screen and what you ever want to do with it. There are different versions of it in the game in Planet Coaster, which makes me really proud. But yeah, we so by we I mean a few people in the community have been asked to prepare something for Frontier, and it's quite a while ago, to be honest. I just looked into when I started this build, and it actually was in the mid of January, so it's quite a long time ago. So this is obviously then on the old build. But yeah, it was really cool that they asked us for help. I had the chance to do this quite often already with different things, for example, like the holiday, summer holiday update, and now with this. And yeah, I was asked to, in particular in this time, to create a space video, and by creating a video I mean a dark ride experience that can be filmed later on, and you have seen already a snippet at the beginning of this episode. What this looks like in the end. I've chosen this snippet because we are actually doing pretty much what I am preparing for this video in this episode already. So I have cut out a whole lot of this whole process. It was well over 30 hours of work, so you know, if I would do this now as a making of properly, that would have meant to have like 10 or whatever, maybe 8 to 10 episodes or whatsoever, also with explanation, editing and stuff. So I decided to make 3 episodes now, and this will be the first episode today. Then we will have 2 other episodes, and I thought it fits perfectly now with the new Studios pack, because this is what, you know, it's all about. It's all about the making of things. It's all about the background stories of creations, and I want to talk a little bit about the idea. So the basic inspiration, what I got in the briefing, was about simply the trench run in Star Wars, where Luke is putting his torpedo inside the Death Star. And you know, I wanted to create that at the beginning, but I just figured it could be more interesting to create something else, and I was playing around with different things, and I came across the idea to create the Earth as something which is in the midst of nowhere. And so, as you can see, I use all the fairy lights over here to create basically the lights of the different continents on the Earth, right? So basically I used the glowing and the not glowing ones, or I don't know, is it called glowing, or the lit ones on the not lit ones, I have no idea. But anyways, I thought, because I will make this pitch black in the end, and like a whole big cave around the whole thing, I thought it would be a cool thing, because it would actually be pitch black. And so I created this, and you can definitely tell that this is America and also Europe on the other hand side. And I also wanted to go with a little bit of snow peaks on top of it, so that we really can see the Arctic, as well as the countries in the lower side. We have Greenland over there, and you know, it's not perfectly accurate, but the thing about the ride is that you wouldn't even be able to tell what this really is. So I just figured to make it somewhat realistic, but not too realistic. And also we just need one side, so also the sizes don't match the right Earth, to be honest. It's way too small. I would have meant to make this a lot bigger, but I thought, okay, you know, you don't really need that, because the coaster will get past this just one single time and then do a right turn, which then goes into outer space again. And this is what you saw basically at the beginning. The little snippet is actually this part of the ride, where we go towards the little Earth sphere in the middle, and where the little Earth is just being glowed. One time I just used I guess it is the exhaust, like the spaceship exhaust, which worked perfectly as the sun would just pass around. You know, just imagine you would see the sun in the behind the Earth, and how it's just going, you know, move on in the morning once the globe is lit, and this is basically what's happening then. So that was the basic idea about it, and here you can see now pretty nicely how it worked out quite well with all the lights. And then I started to try to get a little bit of light in, but I figured, okay, even with the flue lights, it's definitely a little bit strange. So I came across this idea here, which basically will also maintain till the end, and also use some of the environment lights, so which do lit up the whole thing a tiny little better than I thought. Still, it makes some weird glowing effects, and in the end I will go in and, you know, remove all of these again, because it just didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out. It kind of looks good, but it just doesn't make it look the way I wanted it to look. So this is also why I'm going for the exhaust later on, because I also needed to hide all the different lights from everywhere. And there you can see already now I'm taking the exhausts to make a little bit of the atmosphere of the Earth, right? So it's kind of hard in the game, essentially in the old build of the game, because with the new lights, actually, that would have been, way more easy. But anyways, now after quite a long time of preparation of the big globe in the middle, we are now going to prepare the ride. And now I have to explain quite a lot. I've you know, a lot of people have reached out to me already asking how I could hide away the track of the coaster. Basically, it wasn't me. I was told that the sneaky developers are able to hide the mesh of the coaster, and I shouldn't worry about the coaster itself. I just should worry about the point of view of the coaster train and of the front bumper view, so to say. So what I had to work with is the torque coaster, basically because that's the coaster where you have the most control over speed and movement and stuff. And the only thing I needed to worry about is what the front bumper view catches. And so the entire idea about the coaster was to create a ride that basically leaves a space shuttle or a spaceship or a space station, whatever you want it. So we are leaving this one by shooting our way, just shooting a whole big what I'm even talking about. We are trying to make, or just to shoot a big hole in the wall of our space station through which we can escape, and then we are going into outer space. And I wanted to create a little bit of gravity-less feeling once you come out. This is the overhead turn, which you can see at the end of this little area over here. And what I wanted to also do is to, you know, make the way through some different areas of the spaceship. So not to go out via the normal way you would go out a space station. I wanted to go through the machinery parts, or like the fuel area down below in the lower part of the spaceship. What worked out kind of well in the end, but I have to redo the coaster a whole bunches of times. So don't think that this is the final version of it. There will be quite a lot of change to it, but in the end it worked out kind of nicely. Also, another little problem was that we were asked to make the whole experience not longer than 60 seconds, and when I was testing it at the beginning, I was really underestimating how hard it is to stay within 60 seconds. You know, I could have easily made the coaster go through the track in 60 seconds, but I also want the viewer to see something in the end, right? Because I knew that this will be a video which is then displayed on a billboard or something. I want that people can actually spot things, right? And if I have the cube, the world, the sphere of the little Earth, I really want you to make the viewer, or want to put the viewer into a position where they can really see what's going on. And this is why I made this area over here, which is basically a brake run, and then followed again by acceleration via the launch section. So this is, you know, the idea about this is we escape the space station and then we go into somewhat gravity-less feeling, just shooting our way through a little bit of a fight with the outer defense stations of the space station. And once we go through light speed towards another area, we just need to break down ourselves before hitting the Earth, and then you have this beautiful view on the lit Earth, so to say. And what we do then is we accelerate again and turn to the right, go into light speed again, or hyperspeed, whatever you want, to find ourselves, then come to another big solar station, and we fight our way through this one. So basically that's the whole story. And yeah, I think in the end it turned out to be working kind of well, even though I have to say, with even more time I could have delivered something even better, I guess. There are a few things which I'm not totally happy with, but we're gonna talk about this in the third episode, where I'm going to make a walkthrough, because it's all a big mess. Don't get me wrong, it turned out to be quite cool, but the whole build itself is a whole mess. Yeah, one thing I also did obviously is playing around a lot with triggers. I made some custom doors, I made some custom elements, and yeah, we obviously had no chance to play around with pieces of the Studios DLC, and yeah, well, we even didn't know that it will be a Studio DLCs. Actually, we didn't even know too much. Just a few things, I'm not going too much into it, but yeah, it was really funny then to play around with all the different ideas I had to make some doors and custom things with the animatronics. Yeah, it turned out to be quite cool, I have to say. Yeah, I don't know who of you have seen the episode of Schematics talking about triggers. I don't know if you did. If you haven't yet, I highly recommend to go there and watch this video, because I think if there is a part in Planet Coaster which has to be improved quite a lot, then it is definitely the trigger system. I could create some good things, but don't get me wrong, it took ages to get to these kind of results. And yeah, I just want to say it's still very complicated to achieve stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, what we are doing right now is we are kind of laying down the groundwork of the inner part of the spaceship, which is more or less like the normal part of the spaceship, which we are going to try to escape from. And then I will create later on in the other making of videos, I will create some more of the lower part things of the space station. As I said, this is more or less like the normal floorway, where you actually would have the spaceships roaming through to the yeah, starting or taking off area. I don't even know how to call this in a space station. I mean, it's not a runway in that kind of sense, is it? I mean, yeah, you could potentially call this a runway, but yeah, we are not going to use the runway in the end, so this is basically just the runway which we should use, but in the end we don't, and we are going to try to escape from it. And yeah, I don't know how much they took you know, the thing is, it's a little bit hard to explain, but you will see later on, once we have this special area done where the coaster is going to escape from the runway. And there's I did try something in there to create a more or less moving piece, which seems like pieces are falling down from an explosion. And it's funny enough that we now have, with the Studio DLC, the exact piece which I tried to use to make it seem like it was moving, we have now available as animatronic, which is this little thing you can now see below the coaster. I don't even know, the iron grider thing or whatever this is called. I don't even know how this is called, but it is the chain mesh iron thingy, or like, I don't even know how it's called. But yeah, we now have a static one, but also a moving one in the game, and I've no clue if they've been influenced by it, but I could imagine though, because it was quite hard to create that, and it's just a very interesting and very important element of this dark ride. And I could, you know, no matter what I tried, in the end it didn't work out the way I wanted it to work out, because it actually felt like there's something missing, right? You couldn't make this actually exploding so that you have a different situation afterwards. You had to have a little space already open to go through with the coaster before the explosion happens. So I could cover this up kind of nicely though, so it seems to be a perfectly fine working runway, which then after the explosion looks different. This was just made by doors and stuff, but it just wasn't doable with the pieces in game back then. And so now with the new update, there are so many new possibilities of creating different themes which are actually different after having animatronics work and not work. This is very cool, I have to say. But yeah, basically you can see now the space station being created. And this is all about what this episode will show. So I hope you like this little making of. It's for the moment it's just more or less like a speed build of what I've done, but we need this as a preparation before we go then in the third episode of the making of into really a walkthrough, so I can show you more like the background elements of it. And obviously we will take some of these elements definitely to put down in our studios park in the Camel Studios, because I mean, that's just perfect, right? We can just use all of this as kind of scenes and make this really like a studio tour. And yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to create. I wanted to create a pretty much like a movie scene, because all of it is just made exactly around the coaster, and the environment around is absolutely a mess, as I said at the beginning. But hell, what I'm even talking about. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed the little making of. Let me know in the comment below what you think about the space exploration. I hope you have seen that already. If not, I will put the whole experience at the end of this video. You know, I can't even spoiler because you potentially have seen that already, because it's in the game actually, which is very, very cool. I'm really proud to be a part of the game. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed that. As always, if you liked that episode, don't forget to leave a like or a comment, because as I explained to you a while ago, it really helps me out. It really helps pushing the content. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed, how could you? But if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do so, and also to activate that little bell, because otherwise you won't be notified, that's the word I was looking for, that a new video is up. So as always, guys, I hope you have the best of days ahead, and yeah, enjoy it, and see you then, hopefully in the next episode. Bye bye.